we're off. Here comes. Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
The visitors arrived in 50 gigantic motherships.
Oh, shit. Hold on, I gotta resume the audio. I'm an idiot. Okay, now 3, 2, 1.
The visitors arrived in 50 gigantic motherships, which stunned the world with their monumental size and power.
We have come in peace because we need your help. And in return, we will gladly share with you all the fruits of our knowledge.
Talk about an offer we can't refuse, huh?
All I need right now is power.
The morning stream. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen a vegetable do.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TMS. It is the morning stream for September 23rd, 2024. Ooh, that was an easy one to mess up, but I got through it.
You did it well, yes.
Yeah, I'm impressed with myself. I'm Scott Johnson, the recently recovered from COVID man, and that's Brian Ibbett, the longtime recovery of COVID man.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. It's good
Welcome
to see
back
you on
to
a
the
normal
land
show.
of living. Yeah.
I know, right? It was so stupid last week. We had Wednesday's show, and then I thought, I got a little cocky Wednesday. I was like, oh, I'm fine. Let's do this. I'm feeling better, blah, blah. No. In fact, it kind of wrecked me. That night was a mess. I was just like a piece of crap.
It was the combo, too, because you did TMS and then you did DTNS right afterwards and just did not, you jumped a little quickly back into the heart of things, I think.
Flew a little too close to the sun like Icarus, they say.
Right, yes, exactly.
We'll see if this we'll see if this week's any better, but yeah, it was lame. We should be here all week, though, and thanks, everybody, for your patience. COVID's weird. I know we all know this, but COVID is weird. Like when you get the flu, you kind of have a good idea of what the process is. Like you know where it starts, where it's in the middle of it, and where it's done. COVID's like, hey, what if it felt real mild at first? Okay, cool. I'll take that over severe. And then a few days later, you're like, man, this is just like head cold, no big deal. And then the worst fatigue of your life kicks in.
Yeah.
And then the worst brain fog of your life kicks in, and you're like, am I going to lose taste and smell again? This time, no. Sometimes, yes. You never know.
Yeah.
And like your friends,
it's a 1-2 punch, man.
And you have
really
some friends that have like the butt version or the stomach version of the thing.
The butt version of COVID, yeah.
Ugh.
It was one of Tina's coworkers got the, and then we knew somebody got out east who had the just the gastric overhaul version of COVID.
Ugh. That sounds so miserable. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Here's the best part, though.
On all of that.
Here's the best part of suffering from COVID, even though I didn't really suffer that much, but it just felt like a slob of wasted flesh. I just felt like crap all week. So one of the things we had planned well ahead was the little ones were going to stay with us for 4 days, and it was to give Taylor and Dylan some time for their 10th anniversary, and we were happy to do it. Love seeing these kids. Love having them
10th
over.
10th anniversary already. Oh, my God.
I know. It's
okay.
It's insane, dude. Late 2014. How is this even possible? That was about 40 pounds ago for me. Anyway, so we're doing that, and the kids are over, and everything's fine. But Van's a little slow and kind of down most of the day, and he's on his Switch and doesn't really want to eat. He's just kind of like off. And I'm like, oh, man. Thankfully, it's probably just nothing. He's just a kid. He's tired. No big deal. No COVID, but, it's fine.
Sure.
2 o'clock in the morning, kid comes to the side of my bed. And his eyes are closed, and he's going, Pops, like this. And I go, what's the matter, buddy? And he goes, I don't know. And he gags. And I went, oh, shit, here we go. So I leap out of bed, grab him as fast as I can, inadvertently tweak my neck doing it because it was such a rush.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but, whatever, it's fine. It feels better today. Yesterday was kind of bad. Anyway, I rush him into the bathroom, and he's got nothing in him, so it's like this. Is he good? Is he not good? And then he would like dry heave, and then he would like be okay for a second. And I said, buddy, are you going to be okay? And he goes, yeah, I think I'm okay. And he just projectiles in there. Wham! And Kim's in the other room going, what's going on? I'm like, he's fine. It's good. Whatever. You go into helper mode and everything's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, of course.
He only did it oh no, he did it. So he barfs, and then we get him all situated. And it was a good, clean run, right in the toilet, no issues. No beds to clean up. And so I say to him, I say, now, buddy, I'm going to have you in here. Here's all your blankets and everything. Here's a little bucket, a little garbage can with a plastic thing in it. If you feel like you need to, barf again, you just can grab this bucket. But, yell my name. I'll come get you. But just, I'm just in the other room, blah, blah, blah. So I leave him there. And I'm thinking, he's got this. He'll just grab that bucket. No problem. He's 5. He's smart, And then about 30, 40 minutes later, I'm just starting to drift off. And I hear him kind of coughing. I'm like, I better go check. So I go in there, and he's still laying kind of fetal position, and the bucket's still over here. But he is like Ralphed all over his pillow and his blanket and his clothes. And he doesn't even know. He's like half asleep just laying there. So I had to get him up, get all his clothes off, get him in the tub. Like, we did all this little dance around. And what's hilarious is the whole time, it's funny when you go into emergency mode like that, any kind of like discomfort I had from the COVID symptoms, poof.
Like back burner. Like you're not even, exactly. Your adrenaline kicks in or whatever it is kicks in. It's like, all right, let's get you taken care of. Let's get you dealt with.
Yeah. And you just do what you got to do. And everything was fine after that. He was full of energy the next day. No big deal. It's just what kids do. They have these weird little things. It's what you do when you're kids. It just happened to be during a weekend where we're supposed to be having fun, And I'm already feel like crap. And now we got the kids. I was tested negative by the time I'm, handling the kids. So that's good. So nobody's getting sick from me. But it's just a stupid couple of weeks.
There'll be more weekends. Don't worry. It's
Yeah, and then this Thursday, Kim goes to her sister's hoo-ha party thing they're doing down in Alabama.
Oh, wow!
Her and her sister that has cancer. They planned this whole thing to go, do more sibling things, and so, they're gonna go down this week for like 7 days or something.
Oh, wow!
I know, it's a lot. So it's me, Carter, and the dogs. But most of the time, Carter won't even be here because she's gonna be doing Fan X things, and it's just gonna be me and the dogs. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna be an ugly mess in about a week.
No kidding. You but look at the good timing though. Can you imagine if the COVID thing happened while Kim was gone?
Yeah, good point. Or that she, like, both of us have had it now and have that immunity for 2-3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's in better shape.
This is like the perfect time. If you wanted to go to Dragon Con now, would be the time to go.
Yeah. Get on that plane and just say, hey, any COVID sufferers, just lick me up the side of the face. I don't care.
That's right.
I'm good. Anyway, it was a bad week. But thank you, everybody, for your patience. TMS got affected the hardest. We apologize. Turns out mornings are a little rough.
Mornings are rough, yeah, and then the fatigue. Still take it easy. The fatigue lasts, at least for both Tina and I. The fatigue lasted a little bit longer than every other symptom that we had. So
yeah, even last night I was just like, oh man. And Carter's like, you need to rest. I'm like, shut up, dude. I know.
Carter's right.
I think I said, shut up, dude. I think I actually did that.
Shut up, dude.
Shut up, dude. Brian, we got a phone call, a couple of them. I've been holding them since we were here last. And,
awesome. Great. Let's hear it.
Let's hear them. We got one about Fire on the Mountain in Oregon. Check it out.
Hey, you mentioned Fire on the Mountain on TMS. We have a couple of those in Oregon, and they are amazing. So definitely worth the trip.
Okay, so Fire on the Mountain, remind me. We talked about this.
That's a restaurant. I didn't realize they extended out of Colorado. So it's a place. It's a restaurant here in Colorado named after, I believe, a Grateful Dead song that makes what everybody I've driven there in my tasty taxi. Everybody I've driven there says the wings are phenomenal, and I still haven't fully indulged. I got some takeout there once when I was doing trivia at a place nearby, but they were cold. I went during a break during the trivia, left the team there and said, all right, I'm going to go grab my wings. They'd been sitting for a while, so they got a little bit cold on the walk back or something. So they were good, but I didn't get the real full Fire on the Mountain experience. But,
sure.
It's surprising. Like I said, it really surprises me that they extend.
It looks like they started there. I'm reading their story back in about 20
in Oregon.
Yeah, about 21 years ago. Let's see. These two guys met. They started the Buffalo Wing Restaurant. Let's see. What would open as Buffalo Wing Restaurant was the first name of it, but it changed later to the Fire on the Mountain. That was from 03 to 05. Let's see.
This one says we've been proud members of Denver's thriving restaurant scene since 2012 when we opened our first shop in the historic West Highlands neighborhood, which is the one I went to.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not related.
Oh, maybe
because
not.
the one you're reading is the Oregon one. Is that right?
Yeah, it says Fire on the Mountain, Oregon, born in the mountains, raised in Portland. Oh, maybe that means they were. Well, they're really weird about this. They don't actually say. They just say when they started and who came to check it out, and they mention Oregon, but they don't say anything about anything else.
Yeah, it's definitely the same logo. I'm looking at the Oregon or the Portland Wings now. Nice job, by the way, getting the portlandwings.com.
Yeah, no kidding. It's almost like a hockey team.
I was going to say it'll keep it from using that as a sports team.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, it sounds awesome. We don't have one. I checked here already, but I would love one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Cool. Well,
open a first location in the Cully neighborhood. Oh no, that was in 2011. Well, anyway, seems like they're doing great.
Interesting. So that sounds like they did because the Denver one was 2012, wasn't it? So sounds like Oregon might have been the start.
Yeah, I want to eat. There now.
Burnside opened in January of 2008. So there we go. That's that is the earliest, unless we suddenly find out that, oh no, we started in Nevada in 1997 and blah, blah, blah.
They claim to be Portland's original wing joint. That's a pretty
cool.
hardcore claim, isn't it?
It is.
Got to be some other wing joints out there that are like, no, we're the original wing joint.
All right. I'm going to make it a point to get some Fire on the Mountain wings this week. At some point for lunch, I'm going to make my way out to that neighborhood and
that sounds so good right now. Wings of any kind sounds so good.
Yeah. Wings over the Rockies is what it'll be.
That is the weirdest thing about this particular bout of COVID. The first one in 2022, I didn't want to eat anything. I was not hungry. Mm-hmm. This one, starving all the time. Everything really sounded good, dude. I was like constantly in the mood for like a whole pizza. Like, that was jacked. I hated it. Wow. Well, anyway, here's another one. This is our old pal Gary from Lantronix from Lot B from Batu.
The Toy Story, from Batu. That rogue from who'll teach you how to play sabacc.
That's right. He'll wear a very colorful shirt when you meet him, and he'll always introduce himself on microphone. It is the great Gary, and he has something to say about pin trading in Disney. So. A little follow-up on that. Here you go.
Hey, this is Gary the Senior Geek. This is for TMS. You guys were talking about pin trading at Disneyland. And we did do pin trading on Batu, but when I was still in parking, there were positions where I was required to wear a pin lanyard, and I hated it. Because you got these regulars that showed up with these cheap knockoff pins. They weren't Disney pins, but then they would trade them for actual Disney pins. And, we could recognize they were knockoffs, so we just put them in our pocket and then go get another pin to replace it on the lanyard. But I just hated that stuff. Those people, they're swine. That's it. Bye.
Yeah, that is. That's what a crock, man. That absolutely is some jackassery there. To like go get your knockoff pins. At least I had the decency to go to the gift shop on the way into Disney, the very first one you go into in their Main Street, USA, and get the cheapest set of 6 pins that you can find. Yeah. And then you start trading those and you start working your way up. But at least mine were genuine.
Yours were real. That's so you did the exact right thing. This other mess. Yeah. I mean, who knew that there was so much debauchery in the pin trading world?
Jeez. It's people like that ruin it for all of us.
I guess there's a lot of money involved if you're, if you're trying to get the high end ones, and so you're going to have people try to screw the system.
Yeah, I guess. I absolutely never was in it for like, oh, I'm going to get this pin to sell it. It's like, great, ooh, I got a Statler. Now I just want a Waldorf. Or I got, ooh, I'm going to collect all these Marvel versions, like all these comic book variants and stuff, or all these. Any Spider-Man or Stitch I find, I'm totally trading for. Yeah. But what a crock.
So they have all the Muppet stuff then. They have like Beaker and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
I would collect all the Muppets if I could. That would be
I
my
still
goal.
have a Statler right there and no Waldorf.
Oh, Brian,
there,
how
like,
can you have
exactly.
a Statler and no Waldorf? That's terrible.
It breaks my little heart. It does. It crushes me, man.
Yeah, those guys are up in that balcony together, not separate.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, Luke Sightwalker says, I didn't know pin trading was so hardcore. Dude, you should
oh man.
Like there's a spot in Adventureland where somebody sets up permanent residence. I think they just go in the morning and they sit on a bench. They've got a magic key, the season pass thing. And they take up residence on this bench with a little display that they've made of all their pins for trading.
Yeah.
But like they have all these rules about Frontierland. Thank you, Hootie42. He knows the guy. He knows the person who sets up there. And they have this little stand with their pins on it, and they're like so hardcore about I don't know, Hercules wasn't a very good movie, and that was kind of like a B character. I don't know about trading him for one of Ursula's eels. All right, I guess so.
Yeah. It's a little like I guess it's like any fandom. You're going to have somebody you're going to have the hardcores. Yeah. And that thing, I remember at Blizzard, and some of that's maybe a shared culture because there's Disney so close and everything, but
sure.
The Blizzard one was also, there were hardcores up there. They had
there were. You'd see them buying like cases of those bags of pins or at least walking around with what looked like cases. I don't know if they ever put a limit on how many you could buy, but Tristan and I always each got, if there were 8 enamel pins we wanted, we would buy 10 packs because we know the average was about 2 gold pins.
Right.
And then we'd get maybe 2 enamel duplicates and then we trade. First couple of years, they all felt equal, right? Like any enamel for any enamel, any gold for any gold. And then like further in, even though I don't think there were any, and Randy might be able to speak to this, I don't think there were any limits on, we only printed this many of this enamel, but we printed a whole mess of these. It still was like, people wanted the Overwatch characters more than anything else, so it's like, no, I ain't giving up an Overwatch character unless you give me 2 enamels.
Yeah.
It's like, screw you. You're a jerk.
Yeah, you're not in Tijuana. What's going on in there?
Exactly. Come on.
Well, Gary, we appreciate the insight.
Barry.
I don't know about
Gary.
We're gonna add Dunaway to the call.
Yeah.
And
I like this idea. I like it a lot.
Yeah, we had a great film sack this weekend, so why not bring at least partial team back together here for an encore, really? We'll see if he answers. I noticed he's in, so that's a good sign.
Good.
All right, well, while he answers, I'll play the theme song. Yes, that signifies it's time to play a game with Brian Dunaway, who joins us from South Carolina on the line right now. Hi, Brian.
Oh, hi, Scott and Brian.
You're a little bit of a, I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but you're a little bit like the mascot of the network a little bit.
Cool.
Because you got your toes are like kind of spread all across the different shows and stuff. You're like poking in here and there.
Right.
And people just are always like, doesn't matter what I'm talking about.
Aww.
I'll say, we had a great time today on Wednesday. Ooh, I love when Dunaway's on. Someone will say that. We get it all the time. People love you. They adore you.
That really makes me, well, first of all, it makes me feel very honored. Thank you very much. And it also makes me want to get one of those big giant replicas of your own head. Because when I think of mascot, I think of sports teams. And I want like a big giant replica on my own head, walking around with it. It'd be awesome.
Hold on. I got something like that. Brian, keep him busy for a second.
Oh, really? Oh, we do have one of those. This one came up at Nerdtacular years and years and years ago. And you knew this. It was the first year at Nerdtacular that you weren't able to attend.
Right.
And so we had a stand sitting at your spot on the desk.
Is Brian behind me or something like that?
This
Is
was
that
a
still a
different
website?
thing.
A different thing. Yes.
This is what we used for you for Film Sack when you weren't there.
Oh, look at that. Don't kiss it. Okay, fine. Kiss it.
Look at your short hair. Wow.
I know. I think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
2003 or 2013 or 14. We also have a Veronica one. She hates that we have this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She hates that we have it.
She does. It's like, do not molest my poster, please. Thank you.
But look at her. She had an old Engadget sticker on her Mac.
Oh, look at that. Wow. I think she's in mid yelling at me about some rule in Tadpool All-Stars.
Yeah, basically
All-Stars.
She was losing, therefore it must be Brian's fault.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Breaker of worlds.
Wow, that was amazing.
Breaker of rules.
It's too bad if you only heard the audio version of that. I'll put some pictures of that up somewhere so you guys can see it. Yeah,
so she'll hold those up for those will be great for the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I'm totally doing
That's
that.
a good idea.
All right. Well, hey, Brian, let's play a game. You got to explain the rules, though, so we know what we're playing for and who could win what.
God, you'd think you'd know. You'd think you guys would know how to play this game. Welcome to the Morning Half-Ass, is a trivia game where I'm actually going to be giving you the answers. I'm going to give Scott and Brian a category and 6 possible answers, 3 of which are correct and 3, watch out, Scott, are incorrect. Depending on how confident they feel with the category, they can provide 1, 2, or 3 guesses. But if they get any of those guesses wrong, 0 points for that round. 0! If you get 1 right, you get a point. Get 2 right gets you 3 points. 3 right gets you 5 points for that round. We're going to add up all those points after 3 rounds, and the winner gets nothing. But the people you're playing for will get something. Scott, you're going to be playing for Alex Thompson in Savannah, Georgia.
Ooh, all right.
I wonder if we're going to be seeing.
I was about to say if some of us are headed that way soon.
I wonder if we're going to see Alex Thompson in Savannah, Georgia. Alex,
I bet
Brian, you're going to be playing for Jose Perez in Miami.
Oh, mommy.
Wait,
Yes, I love it.
Jose Perez sounds like a real person, like a famous person.
Like a real person.
Doesn't it sound like some famous
Jose
name?
Perez.
Like a baseball player or something? Or
certainly could be. I mean, I think of George Perez.
It's kind of a real simple name, really. So,
Who was
it's like Bill Smith.
Who was the guy that had a celebrity blog? Perez. Oh, Perez Hilton. Never mind.
Oh, and
Never mind.
And someone said Rosie Perez. I might be doing that.
Oh, that could be Rosie Perez. Yeah.
Damn it. All right. Well, I'll not worry about it for now.
Please don't.
Okay.
But
let's
Miami.
Welcome to Miami. Miami.
Yeah.
Got my Will Smith there. All right, let's
Keep
get to
my city out of your mouth.
Smack. Yeah.
All right. With this recreation provided by TMS. Let's get to question number 1. We're going to the military for this one, see how well you do. Which of these are ranks in today's U.S. Navy? So current ranks in the U.S. Navy today. Commander, mate, Commodore, midshipman, sublieutenant, and rear admiral.
Oh, my gosh.
Commodore 64.
Yeah.
I hope my buddy Darren is not listening because he is a Navy guy and he will be embarrassed if I get this wrong, which I probably will get wrong. Let's see. Pretty sure that one is. I'm doing 2.
I'm going 2 as well then.
All right. You guys both locked in on Rear Admiral. yeah, that's real.
Yeah, we all know
Rear
that
Admiral. Rear Admiral is absolutely correct. Scott, you picked midshipman, and Brian, you picked Commodore. I'm going to tell you right now, one of those is correct, one of those is incorrect, meaning one of you is going to walk away with 3 points. One of you is going to walk away with 0. The correct answer is midshipman. Yeah, Scott. Getting 3 points for round 1. The other one was commander. Commander, midshipman, and rear admiral were your 3.
I almost chose Commodore, but then I thought, what do I know that from?
Did they retire Commodore? Wasn't that a name at one point in time?
British
Commodore
thing.
Absolutely was.
It's a British thing, right? Isn't it?
I guess it was British. Yeah, says Chris in the chat. Might be.
Oh, interesting. Right. So mate,
maybe I'm
sorry.
a secret spy, and I got confused for a minute.
What was the other one? Commander? Oh yeah,
Commander, midshipman, and rear admiral.
All right. I feel like
Good job, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Darren know that I almost chose. You chose Commodore because you want to put a 64 at the end of it. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, I had no choice. Yeah. What choice did I have? I was torn between 2 worlds.
I get it.
Yeah,
I feel it.
Hobbs Dog confirms. Yeah, Commodore was used in the U.S., but not. It's not anymore. As in Talia, she confirms it.
I wish we could say more lieutenant instead of lieutenant. I wish we do that.
I like that. I like lieutenant. But then we need a right tenant, don't we?
I think we need a right tenant if we're going to have a lieutenant.
And then a Neil tenant right in the middle.
Yeah.
Let's get to question number 2.
Central tenant.
And these are cards in a tarot deck, or tarot, as nobody calls it. Your choices are the Beast, the World, the Chariot, the Judge, the Sky, and the Hermit. 3 of those are real cards you'll find in a tarot deck. 3 of them are just some shit somebody made up.
You mean unlike the rest of the tarot deck?
Right.
Kind of accurate there. Yes.
I'm. It's funny you bring that up. I'm considering a fully customized art tarot deck of frog pants people in it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So Brian would
Who gets to be
Death or whatever. I mean, you don't have to be Death,
but no, I want to be Death. I'd like to be Death.
Yeah, you want to be Death? You're in the running for Death. So we'll see what happens there.
Throw my hat in the ring for Death.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of already look like Bill and Ted's Grim Reaper. So
I do right? Exactly. Like if I shave my beard and kind of put a little white powder on my face, then
perfect.
Sure, I'm there. I'm in.
Sadler guy. Yeah.
All right, you guys are both finally locked in. Again, you guys both settled on the world. The world. The world is a card in the tarot deck.
Excellent.
One of you settled on the judge. The other one settled on the hermit. And once again, one of you is right and one of you is wrong. So somebody's walking with 3 more points.
Is it going to be a tie?
With 0.
Oh boy.
Or is it going to be?
I'm scared.
Big gap.
I'm scared.
It is the hermit. Brian gets 3 points. The score now 3-3 going into the last round. I love it when we have a little healthy competition here.
Yeah.
Question number 3. Which of these are numbers greater than 2? Oh, it's easy, right? Like, which of these are numbers greater than 2? Come on. I mean, this is going to be so easy. Your choices are the golden ratio, Avogadro's number, Euler's number, E, the square root of 3, pi, and the sine of 90 degrees.
Oh, my God.
Get up those Scott does math.
This is a bummer here.
You're going to have to give me a minute. I'm going to have to go through all these.
Oh, that's right. It is. Thank you, Amy. It is Euler's number, right? Not Euler's. Euler's.
Oh, it's pronounced Oilers? Oh, okay.
Euler's number.
The true Oilers number is whatever number is lower than the other team they're playing against. That's the Oilers number.
Right.
They're not very good.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
that.
Avogadro's number. What the hell's that?
Number. There's a pizza place in Boulder Fort Collins called Avogadro's number, and so I know, at least from the commercials, how much I can remember of that. But yeah,
I'm sticking with 2 again. I just don't know.
All right, 2. Okay, 2 is in. All right, good.
All right,
2 as well. Fine.
You guys settled on pi's the easy one, right? 3.14. Blah 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 blah. Of course, that's more than 2. Yeah. Euler's number E is 2.72. Approximately.
No. Oh, that's good.
No, that's good because I didn't choose it.
Either of you chose that
didn't.
one. No.
Okay, that's hilarious.
No, you both chose Avogadro's number, which is
Did we really?
Yeah, 1.22 to the x 0.6 power. I can't. There's some like they used to talk about it in their commercials. And this big long explanation. It's a massive number.
Yeah. That isn't that the E you get on your calculator when it's like nope.
Yeah, it's an error. It's a number that triggers an error on your calculator.
That's awesome. Can it spell boobs?
Or am I thinking of gigawatts?
I was trying to think of how the golden ratio.
10 to the 24th power. That's it. Right.
Okay.
How is the golden ratio? I was trying to construct that into more than 2. I was like, what the? That's not.
It's 1.62 is the golden ratio.
Ah, okay.
It sounds like
just look at Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Don't look up the golden ratio on Urban Dictionary. You'll get in trouble.
Actually, somebody sprays numbers all over your face.
Actually, these all could be that. Like.
Yeah, right.
The sine of 90 degrees, the square root of 3.
She came over and I gave her the square root of 3 all night long.
Yeah, pi, Avogadro's number. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah. All right. What do we do
which
here?
Which means we go to our tiebreaker, which is a numerical question here.
That's right. That's right. I haven't done these in a while.
I haven't had to. So since Scott got to 3 points first, I'm going to let him give the answer.
Well, that is this. You might as well just said just because.
Well,
just because.
Hey, I got it first. It was a real deal. You know.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that the rule that we usually keep in place, or is that just something
I think
you said
flip
today?
a coin or something.
All right. Okay.
Something. Today I made it up to be that. But I'll let Scott have the choice of whether he wants to give an answer or the higher or lower guess afterwards.
Okay.
But I'm going to make him do that before I tell him the question.
I will do the higher. Actually,
Perfect.
no. I'll do the first bit. I'll do.
Okay. You'll give the guess number.
Yeah, I'll do the guess number.
Scott,
Scooped.
what % of Americans age 65 or more have at least one tattoo? And this is as of 2015. What percentage?
Well, that's going to be 2015. I'm just
remember Scott's giving the answer here, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I just like to protest too much.
What percentage of Americans age 65 or older have at least one tattoo?
I'm gonna say 25%.
25% is incorrect, as Brian Dunaway would so like to. Exactly.
He just has gas.
Is the actual number higher or lower than 25%?
So 65 and older, I'm thinking, men, women, how many survived the war? How many got during the war? How many are bikers? I'm going to say it's higher.
All right. The actual answer is no, it's way lower. 11%. Yeah. Yeah. 11% of...
Scott gave me the...
I needed a win. I feel good about that.
Fun.
It's the older, right? Like if you said, hey, how many people who are 65 have tattoos? Way higher percentage. If you said 65 and older, that includes like octogenarians and 95-year-olds and 100-year-olds, and they're not all going to have tattoos. So screw you, Brian.
Dude, look, I mean... What was it? Tattoos popularized in the U.S. during World War II, and I'm thinking, oh my God, at least most of those people are probably older than that or dead. So I mean,
On the flip side, again, as of 2015, when this question was written, 55% of 30 to 39-year-olds have a tattoo, making them the most inked age bracket.
The real conspiracy is that everyone who had a tattoo died young.
Is that the deal?
From tetanus.
Tetanus.
Yeah.
Tattoo tetanus.
Tattoonus.
Tattoonus. It's my favorite Star Wars planet. Love going to Tattoonus. Well, that's great. I feel good about that.
Yeah, congratulations going to Alex Thompson in Savannah, Georgia. Alex, you're going to be getting...
We're just going to carry that with us? We're just going to...
No, they're Steam games. They're Steam games, I'm going to give them to him today. You're getting a copy of Universe for Sale, and This Means Warp on Steam, courtesy of our friend Wesley.
Nice.
And but don't worry, Jose Perez in Miami, you're getting a copy of Hyper Violent, courty of Nightmare Visions.
Ooh, Hyper Violent is really good. The loser got the best game. It's so good. Hyper Violent's fantastic. Yeah, really good game. Shooter thing. If you're an old school shooter fan like me, you're gonna love it. Cool. Well done, everybody. Brian Dunaway, especially, having you here. It's just a treat and a feeling of love and sunshine, really.
Always. I just can't stop thinking that there's a bunch of lying 65-year-olds out there because I know they got tattoos. They just want to talk about them a little too prudish, maybe.
They don't want to show them. They don't want to admit to weird.
What I should have done, since it's 65 and older, or did I say 55 and older?
I think you said 65.
65.
Let's see. 65. Yeah, I should have said for 2015. So it's 9 years after. So I should have said 74-year-olds and over.
Right? That's a good point. I totally forgot about that.
Although that still wouldn't necessarily be accurate because some people in that age bracket might have gotten tattoos between then and now. So
they got grandkids.
Go with, it was the question that was the problem, not my failure.
Let's blame the question.
Yeah, blame the question. That's a great way to do it when you're losing. Dunaway, we're going to hang out again on Wednesday. We'll do this again with the help of a listener. It'll be fantastic. Have a great week and kiss our butts.
No.
Kiss our butts.
Our buttocks. Time for the news. Let's take a quick look at the news brought to you by
Coverville. Hey, last week we didn't have a lot of time on TMS to plug Coverville, but last week, as promised, I did a show for Bruce Springsteen's 75th birthday. A lot of great songs, of course, all the ones you'd expect: "Born in the USA," "Born to Run," "Prove It All Night," "Thunder Road," "I'm on Fire," "Dancing in the Dark," all that stuff. But that's still available. It's a podcast. You can go back and listen. And this week, celebrating 20 years of Coverville. Yeah, that's right. Coverville did its first episode on September 28th, 2004, making this the 20th year of Coverville. And I was trying to think if Coverville, I know there are people who were podcasting earlier than that, and you were doing audio blogs before podcasting was even a term. But I'm wondering if Coverville is the longest still running podcast out there.
Like an RSS-based podcast from that era. I'll bet if it isn't the case, it's got to be close. You have to be in the top.
Yeah, because Don and Drew were before me, but we figured out recently that Don and Drew weren't making podcasts anymore.
Yeah, they kind of faded out.
I don't know when the Rock and Roll Geek started doing the Rock and Roll Geek show.
When was Keith and the girl doing their thing?
They were after me. They started in 2005.
Okay.
They started, yeah.
And I didn't start officially. ELR didn't come back until 05. Like like actual RSS stuff. I think you got to be up there.
I got to be like for a still running show. That's the thing.
Curry's not
Lots
still
of other
doing.
Shows have. No, because he was doing Daily Source Code, stopped doing that, and is now doing the.
Dave Weiner doesn't do anything anymore, right? Dave Weiner's just sort of chilling. Okay. I think I think there's maybe some digging to be done, but I think you've got to be in the top 1 or 2, if not number 1.
It's got to be, yeah.
That's amazing.
The longest still running podcast.
Yep. That's awesome. No break either. No. I can't even claim. Well, there are 2 years of the instance I can't claim because we ended it, and even though it's back, you can't count that.
Was the instance only on hiatus for 2 years?
Yeah.
Was there since the last? Wow, God, it seems like a bigger gap.
It does seem like a bigger gap. It's the whole freaking pandemic thing. All time seems wrong right now.
It really does.
That era
totally does.
But we had that show was 06 to 2022, 2021, 2022, and then. So that can't even, it's not even going to compete. Anything in 04, if there's another show that's still running from 04, I'll eat my hat if you're not number 1 in there.
I'll have to look and see what the Rock and Roll Geek show is doing. Anyway, that's the thing. I have no idea what I'm going to do for my 20th anniversary episode. I was thinking, I'll pick songs from 2004, right? Covers from 2004. You want to know what was on the charts on that day, the day that I did Coverville?
Can I guess? I want to guess. We're talking early aughts.
We're talking early aughts. If you can name without any help from the audience what the number 1 song was on the Billboard charts on the Hot 100, I'll give you $50 cash.
American Idiot.
No, it was a song called "Goodies" by Ciara featuring Petey Pablo.
Okay, I have no idea what that is.
I don't even know what this song sounds like. It spent 3 weeks at number 1 at that point and spent 14 weeks on the charts.
Wow.
Lean Back by Terror Squad. Sunshine by Lil Flip featuring Leah. My Place by Nelly featuring Jaheim. Finally, the first one I recognize, She Will Be Loved by Maroon 5. So, I
know that Sunshine song, I think, is that.
You know that one?
My sunshine.
No, that's Len.
Oh, not them then? Okay.
Yeah, that was Len, and that was the 90s.
Jeez, that's amazing. I don't recognize any of that except for that last song you mentioned.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep.
Just shows
and
how.
Piece of Me by Ashley Simpson, My Boo by Usher and Alicia Keys. Then you start getting to the stuff that I recognize. But so I think it might be what I do is maybe the top from that year, the top 15 songs from that year or something.
Because we had some early I don't know, Katy Perry or something that year.
Did we get in 2004? Was Katy Perry a thing?
She kissed a girl and she liked it then or something.
Was that in 2000? That was in 2000. Yeah, it sounds about right. 2004.
Sounds right, but I could be wrong.
Kelly Clarkson. She had some stuff in that. In that year.
Yeah. You know what's weird? That's only like 4.5 years after The Matrix. Think of that. That's how old we are. Right. The idea that 04 is 20 years ago is not sitting well in my brain.
No.
I don't like it.
Yeah, Geek. What is Todd Cochran's Geek something?
Geek News Central, I think.
Geek News Central. I don't know if that. I feel like that also came after Coverville.
Well, let's check in with him and see what he says.
How did I get here?
Oh, he doesn't even know.
Let's see. So, Rock and Roll Geek Show podcast. When was the last episode of the Rock and Roll? Well, really, where's the September 17th, 2024. Rock and Roll Geek Show episode 1344. So he is still doing it. When was his first episode?
Yeah, see, that's the trick.
How not to raise an a-hole.
All right.
That's a new one.
That's newish. I don't know why I haven't played that one before. How about this one?
Moms don't have time to read books.
That's not true, is it, Amy? You got time to read books.
Yeah.
Let's
see.
Better work, bitch.
Better work, bitch. Is that what he just said?
Yeah.
Where have these been all of our lives? I don't remember any of these.
I apparently capped way more than I ever used. I don't remember them either. It's funny.
Oh my God, that's funny. I cannot find an episode that like the first episode of the Rock and Roll Geek Show.
How about this one?
Veronica's marshmallows.
Yeah, Veronica's marshmallows. Well, you're in the one or two then. I think that's fair.
That's gotta be. Yeah. Gotta be.
At some point, Leo Laporte will refer to you as Bryanson Ibidson and tell everybody how long you've been doing it.
That's right. Exactly.
That's awesome. All right, here's a story for you, a quick one. Half a house for $500,000. That's a pretty good deal, I guess. Not really. Anyway, a home got crushed by a tree and is now up for sale in Los Angeles. Literally half the house is destroyed, and they still want $1 million.
Still want to sell it.
$500,000.
It's got some great air conditioning right now.
Yeah, you guys and your house prices over there. Anyway, newly listed for sale in Southern California's notoriously pricey realty market. Half a house for $500,000. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom bungalow in suburban Monrovia, I think is how you say it.
Monrovia?
Northeast of Los Angeles, California, was crushed by a tree in May with 2 renters and 2 dogs inside. There were no injuries, but a fence and most of the roof were mangled. So now what's left of the property with missing walls, hanging wires, and no ceilings is for sale for $499,999. Listing agent Kevin Wheeler quipped to the Los Angeles Times that it is an open concept floor plan, is what he says. I mean, if you're into the flipping thing, this is probably a good deal.
If you basically want to just completely build something fresh and brand new, then
take the land. You're buying the land, basically.
You're buying the lot.
Yeah, which isn't still not a great price, but anyway, the house, the property is more than 50 years old, so it's already pretty old. Let's see, it was destroyed by what is known as an act of God. A review isn't required, according to the Wheeler dude, so house hunters can buy what's left of the home and fix it up without dealing with some red tape typically required for rebuilds when it comes to this. There's been a lot of interest so far because demand is so high and inventory, especially at this price, is so low, he told the Times. That guy sounds like he's exactly what I think he is.
Yeah, he's clearly a wheeler.
A wheeler and a dealer. German in the news, German woman.
Yeah.
Finally, we maybe even talked about her like 10 years ago. But a German woman ends her 10-year relationship with an airplane. I remember talking about this woman. I can't remember if it was here or somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure we did.
Okay. Probably. I mean, this feels like something that we would talk about.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Michelle Kolbke. I don't know how you say her name.
Sure. No, yeah, Michelle Kolbke.
Says she has a relationship unlike any other. Her unusual love story began 10 years ago when she fell in love with a Boeing 737-800 airplane, which she affectionately nicknamed Schatz, which is German for darling.
Okay.
How come everything in German just sounds so rough, man?
It's all those, what are they called? Plicatives. What's the, Amy, help me out here. What's the term for those?
There's a word for it.
There was a word, and it's a George Carlin thing. He talks about all those explosives. It's the
explosives.
It's the sound, the sounds that are in their language, the and the ah.
Yeah. So instead of saying "hello, darling," it's "Ja, Wohlschnatz." Like it's just
plosive. Okay, I was putting an S in front of it.
Oh.
Plosive.
Oh,
thank you, Talia.
I kind of like explosive a little bit.
Explosives.
Yeah, it's explosive.
Yeah, I was thinking of the bilabial fricative. Adam Barnhart. That was the George Carlin thing.
You can't say bilate. What was the word?
Bilabial fricative.
You can't say bilabial fricative without labia. So just remember that.
You can't. It's so true.
See, the airplane relationship that she had is an example of what is called objectophilia. That is the most on-point philia I've ever heard. You know what I mean?
Like normally they're harder to understand and figure out what the reference is.
Yeah. This is like, no, objects. You're into objects. A rare phenomenon where individuals develop romantic or sexual feelings toward objects. Psychologist Bjorn Henderson recently discussed this phenomenon on a program, Efterfem. Ask your doctor, Brian. Ask your doctor if Efterfem is right for you.
Side effects of Efterfem. Don't take Efterfem if you're allergic to Efterfem.
Yeah, it may kill you. Explained that those with the condition often experience a form of communication with the object, making the relationship feel more like a meaningful exchange. It may seem one-sided, but there is some kind of exchange, he says, adding there is very little research on the phenomenon. Wait, what kind of exchange? The plane's not doing anything.
Right, yeah. An exchange means giving and taking, and I feel like there's just a lot of taking going on.
Yeah, I don't think the plane's into this at all, if I had to guess.
I don't even think the plane gave consent.
I don't think so either. It says, boarding the aircraft overwhelmed her with emotions, and her most memorable moment came when she visited a hangar and kissed the plane. She once expressed hopes of marrying the plane, declaring, "I am simply different and stand for my love of my 737. Yeah." However, despite her devotion, she recently revealed that the relationship had come to an end due to a physical distance problem. You know, long-distance relationships, they don't work out.
He was seeing other airports.
Yeah, he was seeing other airports. He was always in the air, 30,000 feet away. You can't live like that.
Yeah.
Forget it. Anyway, she stressed in an interview in The Expression, that's a paper or
That's
something,
the newspaper out there, sure.
that she and the plane remain friends. They're still friends, she claims. Which
good. Jeez.
I don't know how that works. You know, do you see? Does it come in? Does it pull in sometime to the gate, and you're like, "Oh, hi. How have you been?
You, it's me.
Yeah,
right.
Have you been doing okay? I heard you were seeing. I heard you were seeing a Jeep. Yeah, we've only been dating for about a month. Oh, that's great. I'm happy for you. Really, truly, I'm happy for you.
His tray table just wasn't getting as high anymore. It wasn't going up as far anymore.
Well, that ends your news. The great news coverage today, everybody, and thanks. But we're going to move on now and take a break. When we come back from this break, we'll spend some time with Bobby Frankenberger. Been a while since we've had our science expert on the show, and we'll see what he has to say. I only have a hint of what he's bringing today, but it's pretty wild sounding, so I'm excited.
Excellent. I can't wait. I feel like if we had something lined up, a prize lined up, it would be great to have a competition of who can come up with the best reason that she broke up with the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best.
That'd be great.
The best excuse. But
we could come up with something. You know what I also miss? I know we've talked about it here and there, but I'd love to do our film festival again.
The 30-second film festival. I agree. I miss those too.
Because people, you know what you have better now than you did 10 years ago? You have amazing phones, incredible tools. You could do some incredible stuff now.
You can create stuff on your phone better than the stuff that we had those first couple rounds. And that is, by the way, that is the genesis of I Can See Why You Like It, was from the 30-second film festival.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that came from somebody's video.
Well,
that woman still doesn't listen to the show, but will live on here in perpetuity because of that.
I can definitely see why you like it.
Yep, and let's let her legacy thrive by doing this again sometime soon.
Exactly.
We should do it. Brian, let's dive over into a song break. What do you got?
Okay. All right. Hey, how about the Holy Knives? These guys have a brand new single that was produced with Jamie Hintz of The Kills. They have a brand new EP that's coming out in December called I Don't Want to Win. It's what Brian Dunaway might have said for today's half-asses. Oh! This is the first single from that EP. It's called Damned. Here are the Holy Knives.
My team beat the other team.
Really?
Yes. They've beaten every team they've played this year.
Wow.
I think they could beat any team if they play like they played tonight. Yay!
All right, we're back. Tell me who that was one more time, please.
Sure. That's a band called The Holy Knives out of Los Angeles, a duo, a couple guys in this band. Their brand new single is called Damned. It comes from their EP, comes out December 10th, called I Don't Want to Win. That single is called Damned. Here, that was The Holy Knives. I'm not going to play it again.
No.
You heard it.
Yeah.
We're not playing it the second time.
You guys get one shot. That's it. You've taken your shot. If you didn't hear it, we can't help you.
No, and we've even set it up so that if you get the podcast, it will erase that song after you've heard it once.
Yeah, we have the technology, so deal with it.
Yeah,
all right.
it's gone.
Speaking of which, check this out.
Science!
Bob is hungry, and the soup looks good.
Well, so does Bobby. Look at him and bright and shiny this morning. Our science expert, Bobby, who hasn't been here in like a month because just the way things worked out. We had a holiday. We had COVID.
Circumstances beyond his control.
Yeah, and ours.
Beyond my control, for sure. It was all in your control.
Right.
Yeah.
It's our fault.
We didn't make Labor Day.
No, we did not make Labor Day, nor did I labor on it.
August 5th was the last time I was on.
Wow.
Jeez, that's too long.
A month and a half.
Yeah, that's too long. I talked to Steven yesterday. I was like, I gotta slot Bobby in, and he was like, "Great, no, that's awesome." So he was totally cool with it. He's probably busy.
Give you an extra 2 minutes to make up for all that time, Bobby.
Yeah,
2 minutes.
Not a problem.
No problem.
Bobby, you're here. Let's do this. I know I mentioned earlier I'm excited because I got a hint as to what you're bringing, but just you lay it out. I don't want to spoil any of this. What are we doing? I
want to start with Avogadro's number.
Yes.
So yeah, it was 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. You know what that number is? Like what it's
It has to do with a delicious pizza and sub shop in Fort Collins. That's all I know. So
is that right? Is there a sub shop? Did you talk about it on the show?
I did. Yeah, it's called Avogadro's number, and they used to say that number, that 6022 to the times 10 to the 23rd power, whatever it is. They used to say it all the time in their commercials. And back in the 90s, I would have been able to tell you exactly what Avogadro's number was, but today I'm like, it's 1.22 gigawatts or something. Yeah.
It's a chemistry number. What it actually is it's the number of, so when you're measuring the amount of a substance, it's you need to know how many of particles are in a substance to compare them. It's sort of like used as a way to, so like if you're comparing the mass or the weight of hydrogen to oxygen, for example, well, you need to be measuring them equally. So you need to have the an equal amount of hydrogen to the equal amount of oxygen, and it's the number that Avogadro's number is the number of particles in 1 mole of a substance. They measure it in moles.
Mole.
So,
How do you spell mole?
Yeah.
Like the
MOL.
Oh, not MLE. I'm picturing a little animal.
Yeah, because it's like because that's another word that has to do with the concentration of a substance. 1 molar concentration means you have 1 mole of a substance in a liter of water.
Yeah.
So a 1 molar solution is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd particles of that substance in a liter of solute.
Good Lord.
Wow.
So
solvent.
So what you're saying is it's compatible with the metric system. Once again, another reason we need to quit. Nobody's talking about 3 beaver pelts to the hog's head anymore. We got to get with it.
Right. Exactly.
We got to get with it. Well, all right, Bobby. Let's get into robots, or at least I think that's what we're getting into. What's happening?
Ooh, robots.
Yeah, we're talking about robots. So, but this is a special kind of interesting type of robot. So there's a lot of things that machines can do better than living organisms, right? There are like calculators, for example. We use calculators because you can use a machine to calculate stuff much faster than we can in our heads or on paper or even with an abacus.
Jeez. Even with that. Crazy.
But machines also, we've got AI. They can do lots of things better, search and rescue robots are better at doing those things than we are because they can withstand extreme environments better, right? So there's lots of things that machines can do better than we can, but there are some things that living organisms are able to do and outperform machines at. So they haven't gotten everything. Like figuring out how to navigate the world we're a little bit better at that. I say a little bit.
You mean physically navigate it? Like actually?
Yeah, like as good as AI is at driving a car, we can somehow make decisions a little bit more, I guess maybe efficiently is a better word, but also we could just navigate the world more efficiently because of evolution. Like if you want to move, there are different reasons and ways that you would navigate the world, right? So let's say you're trying to find out how to get out of a cave. You might constantly move towards a source of light in order to get out of it, right? And evolution has provided many living organisms with a really, really efficient way of doing that. Maybe not faster, but maybe more efficient, right? We can do all sorts of things. We can efficiently move body parts better than robots or machines, right? Because our muscles have the benefit of millions of years of evolution to in an energy efficient way do those kinds of. So there's lots of things we can do better than machines. There's lots of things machines can do better than us. So lots of times scientists try to resolve this performance gap by merging living organisms with machines.
Interesting. So you're really describing cyborgs, but that's not
bionics. Yeah.
Right? Like not in a pejorative way. We're not like, something evil that's going to stomp through the village and kill everybody. We don't mean that.
But sometimes we just take inspiration from machines to try to do that, like try to make actuators that move limbs in ways that or mimic muscles, right? To use that example again.
Sure.
But there's lots of challenges to hybridizing living things with machines or cyborgs, like you might want to call it, right? Some of the challenges are just that machines. How do you actually get them to connect together? When we try to put electronic parts onto human bodies, for example, it's difficult to make those connections. The interface is difficult. There are other challenges are if you try to put other living organisms into machines like plants. Well, they don't live forever. Sometimes they're hard. You got to keep them alive, stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So there's a new direction that scientists are going in to try to merge living creatures with machines, and that is to use fungi, mushrooms.
You don't mean just a fun guy.
Oh, so cordyceps mushroom. This is how it all starts, Scott.
Jeez. Everyone's all worried about Skynet. You should be worried about what we're doing with mushrooms. Shit. I've seen we've seen the TV show. It was excellent.
Yeah, we know what happens.
Yeah, we know that they have an ulterior motive. They're just waiting for their opportunity.
Also, very Star Trek, because wasn't the core or one of the core points of Discovery was them harnessing space mushrooms, basically. Wasn't that the deal? I can't remember how that show went. I've fallen off, and I'm probably 3 seasons behind. But originally, it was like that dude that blew the whistle on Kevin Spacey. Can't think of his name. Anyway, the doctor guy.
Right, the spores, right? It was the drive that used the spores to do warp.
They could warp. The ship would like flip in a bunch of directions and then shoot up into the sky or whatever it did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all based on that. Anyway, sorry, Bobby. Probably nothing to do with robotics and or behavior. But
look, you're just anticipating the direction that this technology is going in. That's okay. That's what we like to do.
All right.
So it's a new area of research, a promising area of research, and one of the reasons that they wanted to go with fungi, with mushrooms, is because they might solve some of these challenges that we're presented with when we're trying to merge living organisms and machines, right? And one of those is that they respond very quickly to different kinds of light exposure, like ultraviolet light, infrared light, different types of light. Mushrooms can respond very, very quickly to that. But also, and probably one of the main reasons they were inspired to use fungi is that they can very easily survive in a lot of different environments. They're very easy to grow and take care of.
Sure.
You kind of get them going, and I mean,
there's like a version for every climate too, right? Like you have some mushrooms.
I think I mean they can find their niche in all sorts of different climates. Yeah. I think they don't typically do well in dry climates, but that's not hard to solve. When you're talking about a machine, it's easy to provide a small amount of moisture, easier than maybe having to fertilize and provide enough sunlight and all this kind of stuff for plants or all the other things you have to do for like our type of tissue, right? Where you have to provide it with constant energy in some form, right?
Well, to connect the fake from the real, or the fictitious from the real, it does seem like, in science fiction anyway, we're always grasping for, like, we don't think that the future of robots or, necessarily supercomputers and that sort of thing will be based on just a bunch of robotic arms and titanium joints and this sort of thing.
Right.
That maybe it's going to be more organic, synthetically organic, but organic nonetheless. Like all the synthetics in, say, the Aliens franchise. They got that weird milky white blood, and they got guts inside of them that are way more than just like springs and transistors and stuff. And this feels like a step in that direction of saying, well, it can't all just be silicon. It can't all just be wires and copper. Maybe it's also fleshy, organic-y, stuff that has to feed differently or get its energy differently than just batteries or power or whatever. That's really interesting, right? Because I don't know.
Right. Also human beings we're typically really bad at predicting the trajectory of technology, at least in past a certain number of years, And so I think a lot of times when we think, using this as the example, right? If we think, how are machines and living organisms going to combine, we think of things like, the android from Alien. We think of things like things that we can relate easily to, or things that solve big problems that we have right now. But we don't realize that sometimes when you just start poking into and exploring different applications of different technology, like what I'm about to describe with these fungi, that's when you discover small applications for things that where you have a technology that you didn't anticipate, and it just solves a small problem, right? And then that's where it's useful. It could be maybe an industry, or maybe it's not in your home, but maybe it's somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So what they did was, the idea of a fungus being able to combine that with a machine was all well and good, because they have these things that they can do, responding to different types of light, particularly ultraviolet light in this example, and they can respond to chemical signals really well. They can survive easily. But the trick was to get them to, again, interface with machines. That was the tricky part.
Right.
How does it get the signal to the machine? You can't just plop a mushroom on top of a robot and then it works, right?
Right.
So what they did was they created a 3D printed scaffold. It's always 3D printing nowadays, right, Brian?
Of course, absolutely.
They 3D print everything. I was joking with my co-host on the science podcast before we started recording one time, and I thought, you know what? I think every grant application for science nowadays must have two questions. First, how do you plan to use AI in this?
Right. AI and 3D printing. Right?
And what do you plan to 3D print?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, they 3D printed a scaffold that would encourage the mycelium of a fungus to grow into the electrodes of a machine they were going to attach it to. So it would encourage it to grow in the direction of connecting to the electrodes. And then they used that. Once it did make the connection, after about 30 days, they let it sit, and it made a connection. Then they could use that connection to read an electrical signal from the fungus. Now, when I say mycelium, what that is every fungus, when we see a mushroom, we see the thing above ground, right?
Yeah.
But that's actually pretty much just like the reproductive that's like the reproductive organs of the whole organism.
Is that true? I didn't realize that. I assumed it was the final product. What are we talking? All the stuff underneath, like the roots?
There's a ton underneath. It's really an iceberg analogy is great, but it's all the mushroom job is when it comes up is to spew spores everywhere. That's all it does. But what's underneath are all these fibers. Sort of like little hairs. They're actually thinner than a human hair. And you've seen it before. Like if you leave a tomato out for a really long time and then it grows all this hair on it.
Yeah.
That's the mycelium. That's what and that's underground, and it creates a huge, vast, gigantic network. The largest organism they think on Earth right now, the largest living organism, is a fungus.
Oh,
and
really?
It's like thousands of square kilometers. It's huge.
So is it mostly subterranean, or is this all above ground?
Yeah,
it is.
It's mostly subterranean.
All right.
So imagine that mushroom again and all those little hairs. Now imagine if you could just, it's like wires, right? You could just direct it to connect to an electrode, right? With this 3D printed scaffolding. And electrical signals are sent along these mycelium, just like we have electrical signals that are sent through the nerves of our body, right?
Right.
So you can so what they did was they did that, and then they spent 30 days recording electrical signal data from the mycelium of this fungus that was on the robot. And then they used, of course, AI comes up again. They used a machine learning algorithm to interpret all the electrical signals. And then once they had an idea of what the different signals meant, then they exposed this robot or these mushrooms to UV light, and then check to see, based on how they can interpret it now, whether or not there was a readable signal, and they found out that it was. So they created two types of robots: a walking starfish, which is creepy as hell.
Yeah, that's like that thing in Suicide Squad, the big starfish guy.
Starro, yeah.
Starro. Right. I don't trust that at all. Yeesh.
The other one is what you would typically expect, a four-wheeled rover. So real, it's not very threatening, right?
Right. Until the starfish starts driving it.
Yeah,
no kidding. So they put the mushrooms on top of them, and then they would shine a UV light on it, and they were able to get these robots to move toward or away from UV light sources just by having the mushroom on there and by interpreting the signals that the mushroom had. It's not like they programmed in signals exactly. They did program in stuff on the robot end of it, but the way that they were programming it was based on how the mushrooms were responding to UV light.
Right.
So that's what they did. That's very basic, but it's proof of concept, right? That this is something that's possible. And so
do they have any ideas yet what the practicality use cases are? Obviously, this is great science regardless, and research to pursue, but is there anything about it where they're like, oh, this is going to fundamentally change the way we mow our lawns or some shit like that? Like, is there any kind of, connection there?
Yeah. Good question. That's always the thing that you always include that at the end of your paper, because that's what gets you more money in the future, is if you can say, we might be able to use this for this, and then maybe if you give us more money, we can do more research to figure that out.
Yeah.
So they did kind of come up with some hypothetical applications, and the main one, the most interesting one, and the main one that they focused on was agricultural applications. So you could, if they can figure out how to do this with chemical signals, you can theoretically get it to read chemical signals in soil, right?
Yeah.
And find out acidity levels of the soil. Maybe you could even custom grow a fungus under the soil that you could then stick probes into the soil and read information from it. And so like tractors,
kind of
like tractors could theoretically, if this was possible, if they could create this network, could drive over a field, sticking probes in as it goes to quickly get information about what's going on in the soil, and maybe to more efficiently apply fertilizers, for example.
Sure.
So that you're not just spreading fertilizer just because, but you're actually more targeting areas that need more and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It could be better for the environment, make agriculture more efficient economically. Stuff like that.
Maybe you got a couple acres that are just fallow, or just has gone to sour crap and it doesn't work. This would be a great way to tell, or at least know that before you plant, or make whatever decisions you got to make. That's really interesting. Do you think vegans are nervous? Because someone in the chat brought this up. Icor, I think. Vegans and vegetarians are like, oh no, those cordyceps mushrooms are a little smarter. They're a little more sentient than I thought. I got to take those off the menu. Think we're in any danger of that happening?
I don't think so. I think if they haven't stopped eating plants, because we now have all this research that says that they scream when you cut them. I think they're going to be okay with this.
Is that true? Do we have research that says they scream when we cut them?
I mean, that's what the headlines say, but really what they're saying is a sound is made.
We just don't know exactly. It might be relief. It might be, we can't translate that sound. It might be, oh, finally put me out of my misery.
Yeah, they're not.
Now saute me and put me on pizza.
Or maybe we just don't know what a soothing, relaxing. Like maybe it feels like a massage to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we don't know, and until we know, everybody just stay the course. Okay, everything will be fine.
Exactly.
Well, that's fascinating. I love this kind of stuff, and of course, Bobby talks more about these things on his podcast, All Around Science. Hey, Bobby, what's up next on that show? What are you doing?
We just had an episode released today on All Around Science where we talked to our friend Dr. Alex Reynolds, a sleep scientist. We interviewed her a good while ago, and half of it we released, and half of it we held on to, and we released the other half. And she's just she's a really good guest, a friend of ours, and she talks about sleep science and all kinds of things about sleep in a really easy to understand way. So talks about jet lag, why it is that we sleep in the first place. Talks a little bit about what brain waves are, because that's how sometimes we measure things in sleep. It was really good listen. You should give it a listen. And
sleep, how does it work? Science, also, a reminder that today Bobby and I are getting together and recording the second episode of the Revived Instance 2.0. That will happen not live, but we record it. It will be video and audio, all the ways you can get it. Make sure you tune in. It's our first month with the new expansion. And
I feel like this is our first, like the other one was a welcome back, hey, we're doing this thing episode. This is our first like real episode.
This one's going to have some serious meat on the bone because we've been playing a ton. We raided together. We co-tanked a freaking raid team. That was a wild experience, and all kinds of reasons to check it out. So please do. That'll be today at some time. You can get the feeds and all that stuff wherever you get your podcasts, or particularly over at frogpants.com/instance. Bobby, have a great freaking week, man.
You too,
yeah, Bobby.
I don't know how to hang up on you. Hold on.
You just do it already.
I wish I knew how to quit you, Bobby.
Oh, Discord changed the way they do this. Hold on. Okay. Sure. There, we're back to normal. They changed a couple of things. The way you share screens are totally different now. And every time I get in there now, when we were doing Couch Party, it was like, what do I click? It's really kind of effed. I don't like it. Anyway, whatever. I'll get used to it. And then they'll change it again, and I'll be annoyed again.
Right, of course.
It'll be great. Yeah. Brian, we're done. That is the end of today's show. And here's the thing. If you want more, get it at frogpants.com/TMS. There will be a show tomorrow. There'll be shows all week this week.
Don't you jinx us when you say that.
I know. I really shouldn't say it, should I?
Like last time you said that, I think is when I got COVID and said, oh, finally we're back to having a normal week. And then it was like, oh, bad, I had COVID.
Yeah. And then I did the same thing, and then I got COVID. So yeah, it's like we just, you know what I want? I love doing TMS. I just want it to be normal. Just be normal. It's all normal.
Yeah.
Too many other things going on. Kim leaves town this week. I have to take her to the airport at like 6 a.m. on
oh my gosh
Thursday. Before it won't affect the show. I'll still be here, but we got to go do that. And then I don't know, 5 days, 6, 7, 8 days, whatever it is without her is going to suck ass. And kids are going to be busy this weekend. So it's just me and the dogs. Part of that's exciting. Part of me's like,
yeah. Oh, you might as well. You're gonna grow roots sitting in front of World of Warcraft the entire time she's gone.
Probably.
Those poor dogs. Yeah. Gonna have to fend for themselves.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Should we get Taylor to check on you at a certain? No, I guess Taylor's not going on to Alabama, right?
No, she could easily come check in, and she probably will because she does that.
Yeah, we'll need that for sure.
But anyway, fun week ahead, so be around for it, everybody. In the meantime, let's play a song to take them all home. Some kind of request, maybe. A request?
This is one that would have been played last week for this person's birthday, but, stuff happened. Ducey wrote in. As a matter of fact, Ducey and Caducey wrote in. Kirsa and Ducey both wrote in.
Nice.
We'll read Ducey's. This year is my 39th birthday. My last year to squeeze in the Let's Party clip.
Oh, you think so, does he? I actually got a special one for him. I'll save it till you're done, though. So keep going.
Oh, good. Thanks for a great community. Having a great time in Vegas every year, and I can't wait for the East Coast meetup.
Yes. And then now this is for you, Ducey.
Happy birthday to you.
There you go.
Jeez.
I don't know where that lands on the scale, but there it is.
That is that's a 10 on the lozenge scale is what it is for me. By the way, he says, P.S. I'm actually turning 40, but I really feel like I just started partying. I guess after this year I'll have to be okay hearing the old lady happy birthday from now on. Signed, Ducey. So little fake out from Ducey.
Yeah.
Ducey says, your choice. My new favorite band is Lawrence, but I also love Cake, Collective Soul, Daft Punk, and their Cowboy Bebop and Zelda soundtracks, or the Cowboy Bebop and Zelda soundtracks. Listen, you said Lawrence. When Kirsa wrote in, she said Lawrence. So I'm playing some Lawrence. Actually, I'm playing a combo. This is Pomplamoose featuring Lawrence, Jack Conte, and Natalie Dawn, joined by the, I think, brother and sister duo of Lawrence. Is their last name Lawrence? I think it is.
I don't know who they are. I'm all curious now. I want to check them out. I guess I'll hear this song and decide.
You'll hear this, and you'll say, "Oh, now I really want to check more of them out." This is their cover of Paul Simon's "Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard," Mama Pajama. Here are Pomplamoose and Lawrence.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Jeez. Easy, Dale Gribble.